I knew I was just sitting there kicking myself. You should have done all this stuff just yesterday, even though you're used to it. But oh no, hey, we're live. I
Yeah.
think we're live. And hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us on the Adult in the Room podcast. And I'm here with Sam Faddis, and he has been kind enough to hang in there while we had some never before seen gremlins in the system. And I can only imagine that as a former CIA guy and a guy who preceded the troops into Iraq to find out if whether there was any WMD, etc., for the CIA, that he's probably had something like this happen before. But it's kind of embarrassing when I got you on the air here, and appreciate it. Okay, all right. So we're going to start. We are going. How are you?
I am doing very well. And yes, all of the gear breaks all of the time. So the first thing that happens as soon as you roll outside the wire is none of your radios work anymore,
Yeah,
even though they were all working 30 seconds ago. And they've worked every time you've tested them. So
yeah.
just goes with part of the business.
There was how much did you pay? I know you've paid attention because you've done your Substack stuff on your And magazine, and under your own name as well. But
Right.
it's so interesting about what happened a weekend in Venezuela and at the military installation our troops went into to get Nicolas Maduro. Now, here is Dan Raisin Kane talking a little bit about how the CIA played a role. But I tell you what, why don't I get your initial reaction to this operation?
Well, look, I mean, Maduro's a monster and he's guilty of everything that he's been indicted for and about 9 million other things. So if there's a God in heaven, he will be convicted and he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. And that's a great and wonderful thing. And look, the op was flawless, and doing something like that is unbelievably difficult and requires everything to go right. And you got to have all the right guys and gals, and then you have to have all the gear, and you have to practice it over and over and over, and you have to have absolutely superb information, right? When those guys either fast rope onto the roof or hop off the chopper, depending on what kind of aircraft we're talking about. They don't just go through a door and go down a stairwell and kind of figure it out as they go. That's not how that. Well, you can do it that way, and if you do it that way, really bad things are likely to happen to you. So that that means you have to know exactly where that stairwell goes. And when you get to the door that's locked, exactly what that door is made of and what it's going to take to open that door, whether it's going to take a torch or explosives. And the guy with the torch and the explosives has to be standing right there and already have practiced multiple times. So you go through it instantaneously and you have to know what's on the other side. And so it's not just superb guys and superb gear. It's tremendous practice, and it's a lot of really, really detailed information. And if you don't do it that way, the next thing you know, you're going to come to a door you didn't expect that you're not prepared to open, and everything goes sideways just on a detail like that.
One of the things I like talking to you about is the preparation. You went into Iraq to prepare the battlefield, and this CIA team that was there, nothing could have been done without them, my guess is. And obviously there were other three-letter agencies providing intel. But they went in August. And Sam Faddis, they had a human source. Sorry, I have a cold. They have a human source. So, I mean, here, this is you, Sam Faddis. You're the one sitting there preaching all this time. Like, we got to get back to human. And we haven't been doing that.
Yeah,
so.
that's the only way. And look, it comes down to stuff that doesn't. In the end, it's a lot of detail, and it does not necessarily sound really sexy, but it makes all of the difference in the world. So I give you, I know Marines that went into Helmand Province in the big surge that Obama ordered, and at one point they were ordered to go. hit a bazaar, basically an area with a whole bunch of shops and so forth. And the Taliban were reported to be using it, and it was true, as kind of an arms depot. In other words, it wasn't just they were selling food. This is where they were storing weapons and ammunition and so forth. So one of the first things the Marines went to hit. And they practiced in advance over and over and over before they left the United States how to open the locked doors to the shops. And when they got there, they realized that they had been practicing based on information that said all the doors hinged open like a regular door in your house. And in fact, they rolled up and down like a garage door, which is standard in the third world.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really prosaic, who cares, man, kind of crap. But the point is, when you're trying to do this on a compressed timeline before the bad guys respond, and all of a sudden you realize you practiced it all wrong and you brought the wrong gear, and now you're having to make it up as you go along, that all of a sudden that kind of really minor thing becomes a really big deal, and the difference between getting out alive and being dead. Now, in this case, the Marines improvised, adapted, and overcame and figured out a way to get the doors open. But that is not the way you want to have to
You're
do
right.
it. You don't want to have to be making it up as you go along.
Has that ever happened to you in the field?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes. You're
Anything
right.
you can say?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know how much I can get down the weeds, but you get someplace and you realize, okay, so our boy, our source, either lied to us about absolutely everything, or he didn't know, or he himself was completely mistaken. This is not a physical thing, but let me give you, I will give you an example without naming the country. I flew in to pick up to a country to pick up contact with a very, very sensitive source that theoretically was already recruited and working for us. And he was inside a nuclear weapons program. So I'm on foreign soil in alias talking to a guy who a very, very sensitive guy. And as we begin the conversation, you get into it, it becomes clear to me really quickly that this dude is not on board. He is not on our side. Whoever claimed that he had recruited him was blowing smoke. And now I'm sitting on foreign soil in alias talking to a guy, and he is now aware that I think he's spying for us, and in fact he's not. And so now I'm trying basically terminate the meeting, get out of the meeting, and now I know he's on his way to talk to his security officer for the local intelligence service and report that he just had this meeting. And if I don't move really, really fast, I'm done. And so the bottom line is I catch the first cab to the airport and forget about the flight I had booked and just pay cash and get the first ticket on the next plane that is taking off. And then you sit on the plane hoping that the plane takes off before the guys, the security guys, show up and stop the plane and drag you off. In that case, since I'm sitting here, you can tell that it worked, but that is not a comfortable feeling, right? Because it's all gone sideways on you and you realize, okay, the entire plan is out the window right now, and we got to just move as quickly as we can to be in international airspace, because these guys are clearly coming for me. No question, when I walked out of that hotel room, this guy is heading straight to talk to his security officer, and they are going to be all over me if I'm not gone.
Wow. Well, let's find out to what extent those guys who came in early did and how it all worked together from Dan,
to do
Ray,
this
and
type
Kane.
of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists. And we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years.
Okay, so that's the guy, the Joint Chiefs Staff chairman, and he's the top guy, and he did it again. He did it again after the Iran op, and now this. And what's the difference between the way he's doing things now and what we've done in the past? I mean, you know, there's Donald Trump. I mean, he's the president, but I mean, it's a yes or no for him, right?
Well, it makes a huge difference what the person at the top is willing to authorize you to do, whether we're talking about the president or whether we're talking at CIA, what the director is willing to authorize you to do, which obviously is a reflection of what the president is directing him to do. So, one of the frustrations that I experienced, and lots of other guys experienced this as well during my career, is, you're faced with a target, Al-Qaeda, for instance, in advance of 9/11. There was no secret amongst those of us working counterterrorism that these are bad guys, that they mean it when they say they're coming for us. They already blew up 2 of our embassies in East Africa.
Right.
They already almost sunk the USS Cole. About every 5 minutes, bin Laden says he's coming for us here. You don't have to be a genius to figure out he means it. He's already killed a whole bunch of our guys. And so you got a lot of aggressive folks and bright folks, and they want to get after the target. I'm talking CIA. But, if you're operating, the bottom line was multiple operations, myself, but many other folks as well, were proposed, and then they were shot down. And you weren't so the ops, you can't get approval for the operation.
Yeah.
And not only does that mean that operation doesn't take place. For instance, when bin Laden was in Afghanistan in circa 1998, was an op put together, it's been discussed publicly many times, to go into Tarnak Farms, his compound, and either kill or capture him. Okay, end it. That's 3 years before 9/11. That was, and the assets were in place. The op was completely viable. This is not a couple of guys had a couple of beers and thought about this plan. No, they were ready to rock and roll. We had the Afghan sources on the ground. We were ready to go and make this happen. That op was turned off because Bill Clinton said, I'm not willing to kill him. You have to guarantee me that you're going to capture him. Not and bring him out alive. Not you're going to try to capture him, which would have been the first priority anyway, because that gives you the opportunity to potentially get information out of his head that you would never get if you killed him.
Yeah.
But if he dies, in effect, your guys are guilty of murder. I'm not authorizing you to kill him. Okay, well, anybody with any sense knows that killed the operation, right? Nobody on earth is going in to do that and then going to risk being federally prosecuted for killing a terrorist. Okay, what that does is it not only kills that operation, but it destroys any motivation in the organization to push the envelope and even try to do that. If you have any sense, real soon you stop proposing operations like that,
right?
And you move on to other targets because, I get it. They're
right.
never gonna let us do this, so I'm not wasting my time. Now, me not being the brightest child in the world, continue to propose operations, and then what you like that, and then what you find is they are annoyed that you are proposing the operations because you're making them look bad. You're suggesting that there's something we could do about this problem instead of just shutting up and moving along. But in any event, it's demoralizing and it sucks the life out of ops. So people stop even trying to do that.
Yeah.
With a guy in the White House who's going to be willing to sanction things that are way out there, now you're going to get people to say, okay, let's do it. I've had an idea for a long time. I got a source that I think can tell us where Maduro is going to be on any given day. He can give us the X he will be standing on. And somebody else says, I think I can get an access to a guy who's actually works for the company that built the bunker that he's in. In other words, they have the specs. Now, let me emphasize, I don't have inside information on what that source is, so nobody should take that and run with it. I'm just saying that's how this kind of thing works. And all of a sudden you got people that are motivated and they can do this kind of thing.
They had a mole in Maduro's government who was telling them,
Entirely possible.
well, that's what they said. And, or at least aftermath, we've heard that.
Which brings up another point, which is in the aftermath of anything like this, the hunt for whoever provided the information on the ground in whatever country we're talking about becomes really, really intense. So as part of the op, you better have planned for what are we doing with my boy on the ground in Venezuela after he provides this information, because there's only X number of people that know this.
Right. And I hope they extricated him, but I mean, who knows? maybe they put him in charge. I'm just kidding. But okay, so yeah, you sound like me, Sam.
I'm up in Pennsylvania, and it's a cold, damp winter already.
Yeah. So it's terrible where I am right now. In fact, if you might be able to hear the gales of wind howling through the recesses of this building I'm in. So, okay, so one of the things that I thought I'd ask you about was the fact that, the CIA went in. We were told that. We were told that there was an asset in the Maduro government who gave them intelligence. And then what they did was they went in to a military installation. This was, as Raising Cane put it, General Kane, audacious. Have you ever seen anything that audacious before?
Well, we have run operations like this before, but that doesn't take anything away from this. This is, and again, it's not easy, and it take nothing away from the guys from the unit popularly known as Delta, who executed this on the ground, got off the choppers, did that. I mean, they're better than anybody on the planet at this kind of thing. But it's not just that, right? And it's not just the intelligence that you and I have been talking about. There are a lot of other pieces. I mean, Venezuela has a military. Venezuelan, they have radar systems. They have anti-aircraft systems. They have fighter planes. So, and it's not just you stealth and you're invisible to them. I mean, you have to neutralize them in a whole variety of ways. Some of that means you blow them up, and some of that means that you jam the radars, or there's a whole variety of things that you can do and things that have to be done. But just think about the complexity of that. First of all, you have to know what all their capabilities are, where all their radars are, how they work, what frequencies are on, yada, yada, what missiles they have, how they work, how they track, and then you have to have folks in a position to negate that, again, one way or the other, either blowing them up, jamming them, whatever. Either you're electronically preventing them from doing what they're supposed to do, or you're taking them out, but you don't figure that out while this is happening. It's not like a movie. They fired a missile, man. Let's go. No, you get rid of the missile before it is ever launched.
Yeah.
You get the missile launchers, just like I was saying about you go down the stairwell and cut through a door. You're not surprised the door's there, and you're not surprised that it's made of steel, and you know exactly how you're going to cut it open. And literally, there's a guy standing right there with the torch, and he's already done this in practice
including
20
both the
times.
standard transport
And
variants and the direct
Shut
action.
this guy up. I just wanted to have some B-roll here. Go ahead.
well, anyway, so you got a big team around this supporting, and all of that has to go work. And by the way, I don't want to get lost in all the detail, but you're prepared in advance for the fact that things don't go right. Like one of those choppers goes down, one of those choppers has a mechanical problem, or one of those helicopters gets shot. I mean, we're not invulnerable, and then you got guys standing by to go in and get them out. So just think about, you got thousands of people involved here. And
Okay.
ever since we've been down in the Caribbean, we have been collecting the data, whether it's the human intelligence, the electronic intelligence. That's what we've been doing for the last X number of months.
Yeah.
Just sucking up all that information.
So Delta goes in, right? And they are in the Chinooks. They've got some Blackhawks, and then those super 160th SOAR Blackhawks, and then they've got the Chinooks, which are the personnel carrier basically. And did they fast rope down? And how did the Maduros get up in the extrication?
Well, I don't know, but I presume that they were loaded into a helicopter that landed on the roof.
Oh, okay.
Are there other ways to take them up? Sure. From a helicopter, you can lower a rope with some kind of gear on it, and you can winch them up or just pull them up the helicopter. I mean, we used to do that in training. I never did it in real life, where they drop a rope into the jungle kind of thing, and you strap into some kind of gear, and then they pull you up and fly you around for a while. But I would assume in this case, given the age and size, and you don't know exactly what the physical condition of these people is, that you would probably just load them into a helicopter that landed on the roof.
Now, Sam, what's a shaping operation? I heard that, what is it, Cappy Army, who's got a successful YouTube channel. He's talking about how this shaping thing that occurred last summer in preparation for this, what does that mean? Do you know?
Well, I mean, it could mean a whole variety of things. So what we were doing in Iraq for close to a year before the invasion was, in a lot of ways, preparing the battlefield, shaping the battlefield, collecting intelligence, preparing local forces, doing making contact with Iraqi generals to convince them not to fight, all of that kind of stuff. But it could also, in more conventional military terms, mean collecting all the data that I've just been talking about, and then doing things on your side to prepare to sort of prepare for what you have already planned to do. What's that mean? For instance, you fly planes up and down along the edge of Venezuelan airspace over and over and over every day. And what are you doing? You're collecting intelligence. You're sucking up electronic data. When they turn on their radars, you identify where they are and you understand exactly how they work. But also, what are you doing? To a certain extent, you're lulling the Venezuelans to sleep, right? When the planes and the helicopters go up, you're like, yeah, man, those crazy Americans do this all the friggin' time. There are always planes. They're going to fly along the edge of the airspace, and then they're going to go home. And the ships are going to do this, and the ships are going to do that. And they're going to send radio communications. And, this becomes incredibly complex. From the enemy side, you not only want to lull them to sleep, but you don't want to give them any indication that anything is coming. You don't act one way, and then all of a sudden on the day you're going to stage the op, everything is different. Like, the enemy sees that, okay, now all of a sudden they're moving ships places they never moved ships, and flying planes places they never did. Oh my God, something must be about to happen. From their side, it's like situation normal. It's another friggin' day. Everybody go to sleep. Open a bottle of rum and chill out.
So the before and after pictures, I hope you can see those, unless they're having another. Okay. Pretty amazing. They did bomb the hell out of that place. And that's pretty audacious. That's incredible. This is a military installation, and they took out their munitions. They took out their man pads. They took, I mean, they took everything out, ISR stuff, and in preparation for that to create a path for the Blackhawks and the Chinooks to go
Precise.
through.
Yeah, that's precise. That's precisely it. You do not, like I was saying before, you don't wait to see if this anti-aircraft battery is going to fire missiles at us and then respond. The anti-aircraft missile battery goes away instantaneously at the beginning of the operation, and any other capability you're concerned about. And also, by the way, what this means is if we have to go back, that capability no longer exists, right? They're not going to rebuild a missile battery or a radar system in a matter of days or weeks.
So the net effect of this op is what? I mean, who does it send a message to?
Well, it sends a message to every adversary around the world, not only of capability, but of the willingness of this president to do this, and to everybody who thinks it's fun, excuse me, to smuggle drugs into the United States. First and foremost, it says to every cartel boss out there, look, man, we could land on your roof tomorrow, or choose not to land on your roof and just vaporize you. So, that's all good. And Maduro's off the board. I mean, let us hope that the prosecution proceeds as we expect.
Do we expect him to be found guilty? I don't necessarily. I mean, I still think there are some stinkers at SDNY, and I think that there are probably some stinker. I hate Donald Trump, and I'll do anything to bring the pain to him. And they don't give a flying flipping frittata about the country.
Well, I have read pretty extensively. I haven't been directly involved in the case, obviously, but I read pretty extensively what Maduro and company have been up to and what DEA has on him. So I'm fairly optimistic that, the guy's going to be convicted and go away for life. Is that a guarantee? No, it's not. Anytime you have to actually convict a guy in a court of law, he actually gets a defense counsel, and now you have to prove it. And so there is a possibility it goes sideways. I don't think that's huge, but it is not a sure thing. The biggest unknown to me is, okay, Maduro's gone, and I, again, presume he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Maduro does not equal the regime in Caracas.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He
thinking.
is a thug in a, if you will, kind of a mafia that's been in charge in that place for some time. The current acting president was his vice president, and she's as dirty as he is. And all the rest of the guys in the mob are still in place. The defense minister today is the same defense minister before Maduro was taken. At the heart of this is a guy named Cabello, who is the interior minister. He's actually the biggest. I mean, they're all impediments, but he's the biggest impediment because of the interior ministry in a place like Venezuela. These are the enforcers. These are the guys who keep the mob in power. So Cabello is the guy who disappears people, who drags them off. They are tortured to death. They are gang raped to death. They are either put back on the street broken and, or they are never seen again. But anyway, he's a thug of absolutely epic proportions. And he's, as an example, he's still there. And he's out in the street, by the way, and has been since the attacks.
I heard.
With a bunch of armed guys.
Yes.
Saying nothing's changed and we're going to fight to the death. And if anybody who thinks about celebrating Maduro being arrested, we're coming for you. So the message has been sent. Maduro is in custody. These are all great things. Venezuela is not now suddenly a liberal democracy with freedom and liberty. The same scumbags are running the place now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That's the big question. Okay, what are we gonna? When they don't listen to us and don't change course, what's the next step? I can't tell you.
I mean, I do wonder. I don't necessarily want us to camp out there for a long time. I like the fact that Marco Rubio says, "Hey, man, we're going to go get that oil. We're gonna control the oil because if
Right.
you control the oil, you control everything in that country, right?
Right.
And you put China and you put Iran in check, and even the cartels to some extent in check as well. And I just wanted to ask you something. Here's something interesting. I mean, just apropos perhaps of nothing, but I found this story. Just really, if I can find it, you never know. Let me see my life. Oh yeah, here we go. I want to find this story because it was just like, what? Do we have kamikaze drones? And I mean, have you ever heard of such a thing?
Yeah. All it means is, so most people, when they think of us using drones, think of things like the Predator, which carries missiles and it flies around and it fires a missile at a target. And then the drone comes home and it lands like a plane, except it's a robot, or, well, somebody is flying it remotely. I mean, a lot of them are, somebody's sitting there with it. Somebody's sitting there, usually on the ground in the United States, flying the drone, and the drone fires a missile and the drone comes back.
Yeah.
Kamikaze drone means the drone carries a warhead and the drone crashes into the target and it doesn't come back. And they've been used extensively in the Ukraine war by both sides there. And yes, we have them, and we are expanding the numbers that we have.
Wow.
And I saw the report that we may have used one of those, at least one, in strikes in Venezuela. I don't know if that's true, but it's entirely possible because we have that capability.
That's so interesting. I guess I've never really thought about it before until I read about it in TWS, and I thought, oh, this is interesting.
You know, without getting lost in the details, one of the reasons this is attractive to people is because the thing is cheap.
Yeah.
Predators are not cheap. Predators are not as expensive as a F-22 fighter, but a Predator is a reusable, really complex thing, costs a lot of money. Kamikaze drones, one-way drones, can be mass produced really, really, really cheaply. And they don't have to be super sophisticated. You don't care if the thing ain't coming back, so you don't care if it's just got to carry a warhead and hit a target. That's all.
The vice president, who's now the president, you think she's as bad as Maduro? Just sort of really, I guess, in closing, how serious is she? And is she somebody that Trump can work with, or is she just in place right now as a placeholder until he figures out what they're going to do? I have to believe that they've thought of this, Sam.
You know, I don't know. And here's the thing is, you got to understand, Maduro didn't rule with absolute power. He was part of this mob.
Right.
Okay. And she certainly doesn't rule with absolute power. She's part of the mob. So you got to understand that she could be deposed by people inside Venezuela, like Cabello, the interior minister, tomorrow. If he doesn't want her to get close to the United States, and he feels like she's being too flexible, then isn't she just going to get disappeared by Cabello, and you're going to be talking to him? So, man, you know, even if she wants to cooperate, she's walking a tightrope. What do I, you know, one of the possibilities here is that effectively what you're going to hear from the Venezuelans is, we'll cooperate with you economically. We'll let you have access to the oil and other things. But what we're not going to talk about is actual democracy and liberalization. That what some people are calling Chavismo, which is the system without Maduro. The police state will stay in place. If you guys want the oil, you want American companies to come in, pump out of these offshore oil fields. Okay, cool. We can deal with that much. But we're not going to talk about actually letting people vote for real and actually have real liberties. I will not be surprised if you feel that coming from the Venezuelan side. Sort of like, let's buy you off. Gringos, you take the oil and make some money, and then you leave us the hell alone to continue to crack heads and disappear people.
Interesting. Sam
We'll
Vadas.
see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will. Sooner than later. Thank you so much for your indulgence. The car crash at the beginning of this this episode, and I appreciate you coming on. And once again, I do not take you for granted. Thank you so much, and for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you for America. By the way, he's a hero. By the way, he's kind of a rock star. Okay. So and he's a rock star in my world. Why? Because he didn't cut me off and then just leave me, to talk about this, which is, I mean, I guess I obviously would have done it, but I'd prefer to have, the guy who used to be in the CIA who does this kind of thing. That's the guy I'm on to talk to about this. I also try to get Brad Taylor, former Delta operator, on as well, and maybe we can do that in the future. He put out a video that I may share with you on Thursday a little bit. Now, I have to say thank you so much to my friend, Kevin Downey Jr. He's not there at the moment, but he's going to come on any second now. And, did he come on? No, I'll just text him. Excuse me. And Kevin, hold on again. We're ready. We are ready for you. Love you, man. Here's another guy who's been waiting for 20 minutes, Sorry. I can't talk for any length of time or laugh because it gets me into a, coughing fit. You've all been there, right? Am I right? And I'm actually on the mend. So I am just like, wow, I can't afford, after the car crash that was the beginning of this thing, afford to, just have a coughing fit in the middle of it. I've seen people do that on television, by the way. It's very interesting. Oh, yeah. I don't see you. You don't have your, hey, KDJ, you don't have your camera that I can see.
My camera? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Hey, Goose,
what's
can you check
happening,
out the
dude?
camera, please? Trying to figure it out now.
Oh, no. I mean, listen, brother, I mean to tell you, this is the beginning of this live stream was just, it was the other live stream, which is why I had to say, oh man. Okay, you can see and hear me, so that's cool. Am I a ghost? Yes, you still are. So I don't know what's going on. It could be me, though.
Here's what happened. No, I'll tell you what happened. I got this really cool decanter for Christmas. It was a 45 pistol, and it was glass. And I tried to show Cruiser's, that thing he does with vodka?
Yes.
So someone said, show me a gift you got. And I dropped it. I dropped it on my computer. And the last thing I saw was Cruiser's face going bzzz, and he was gone. So now I'm using my fiance's computer, which I know nothing about.
Oh, okay. So go to the information box, go to the setup of your computer, whatever computer it is. Is it an Apple by any chance?
No.
Okay. And then, so it should be even easier if it's just a PC. Then they try to make those as idiot proof as they make Apple products. So we should be in good shape. And anyway, choose your camera. I'm hearing you. Is everybody hearing? Can everybody hear KDJ?
You hear KDJ.
I'm sorry,
KDJ
KDJ
is sort of in the house, but sort of not. You know what? Maybe it will work on my phone. Maybe that will work.
Yeah, you have to get the app for it though. Which is fine. I mean, you could do that. It's probably 2 seconds to download it.
Now, do you think I have to get off of, see how I'm talking to you now on the computer? Do you think I have to dump that to jump onto the phone?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I can appear twice, right?
No. I mean, no. I mean, we could try it. We could do it, and then we can just, okay, Alex can hear you. That's my guy. That's my technical person. Okay, here we go. Let's just try to figure it out.
See what's going on.
Okay, I'm going to dump you out of here. Stand by.
Okay.
I'm going to remove. And then where are you? You guys, this is just so funny. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. I don't see you. Device not connected. Blimey. You guys, this is just something else, isn't it? Okay, dude, you're not there. They will need to connect their mic and cam before you can add them to the screen. But if you're using your phone and you download the StreamYard app, it should be flawless. So I'll wait. We'll wait. Let me tell you something else that I wanted to show you. Okay, so we brought up the specter of kamikaze drones, did not recognize the fact that they exist, not a problem, and that's very interesting. because when they had this operation, and I just got the Absolute Resolve, they had an umbrella of F-22s, F-35s. They had growlers that are the radar planes. They had all kinds of things, and in addition to the Chinooks dropping off the Delta Force. And then we find out a little bit later, in fact, I think I still have that story. Anyway, no, I guess I don't. But it turns out that the SEAL Team 6 was on the Marine ship, which was the Navy ship, which is why the SEAL Team's on there, getting a ride from those guys. And they were helping them board and or do whatever they needed to do maritime-ish. So everybody was in it. I mean, everybody was involved in this thing. Delta Force. I mean, this is going to be a blockbuster. Doggone, spy thriller. And I love spy thrillers, as some of you may know. And I've had Don Bentley and Brad Taylor. And I previously on my radio show, I've talked to Brad Thor. And of course, I spoke with Vince Flynn when he was alive, and God bless him. And John Bentley's doing his book. So I am pretty thrilled about this is going to be a blockbuster Michael Bay movie. That's what this is. Is Michael Bay still making movies? Is he? I think so. And so there you go. Okay, vid helos, got those. Let's look at pretty pictures now. While I'm waiting for KDH to download his app. The reason I have KDH on or KDJ, I don't know why I keep saying that. Probably because I have somebody else in my life that's KDH. It's always the way it is. KDJ, Kevin Downey Jr. has been able to, for the past 5 years, keep his sense of humor going. He is a stand-up comedian. And he is a person that should not be trifled with. He's an anti-communist. He's one of the most refreshing people with whom I work at PJ Media. He is a columnist, does a podcast with Steven Cruiser. That's why the interesting comment about losing his .45 pistol decanter was devastating, and that Cruiser absolutely saw that. So that was a bummer. And so anyway, so we're going to find out what's going on. So much. Oh, here, let me show you this. This is very interesting. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to play for you the story of Sun Revolver News. It's probably making news elsewhere now, and including this podcast today. Did you notice that when he was arrested, Nicolas Maduro was wearing a sort of a disheveled looking Nike, sort of dirty looking Nike hoodie? And that when he got to New York to be placed into custody in the lockup next to, P. Diddy and where all the other folks have been, this is where Jeffrey Epstein used to be and went before he killed himself, but he didn't. And those kind of folks waiting trial. When he got off the helo on top of the jail, he was wearing something else. And it turns out the internet practically broke because the Nicolas Maduro was wearing an Origin hoodie that is something I wanted to buy my husband, actually, for Christmas, and I forgot to do that. Jocko Willink is a guy who's done, he's part of the owner.
Reclamation of our machines, and
this is the
reshoring
CEO
and the restoring of our communities, and gaining the knowledge we once had to be makers. And
let me just say, he's talking about the fact that they have started this company from scratch to bring manufacturing, sewing, etc., back to the United States. They make everything here. So here he is discussing this.
And it's been a wonderful journey. Today we have multiple factories in Maine, a footwear factory where we make the world's best footwear, a denim factory in North Carolina where we make Delta jeans, and we also make this RTX hoodie. I think it's really curious and interesting because what I believe happened is He landed in New York, and it was very cold outside. And what they did is they put on a hoodie on him that has a mineral in it for cooling. So maybe they wanted him to feel comfortable or a little uncomfortable. I'm not quite sure, but he definitely gave 2 thumbs up. So I think he liked the fabric. And of course, the irony in this whole thing is that the thing we've been fighting against, and on a serious note, we've been fighting against the hollowing out of our manufacturing communities here in New England and in America. Myself, my business partner, Dedeco, my other business partner, Jocko Willink, who's a well-known former Navy SEAL commander and New York Times bestselling author, and Kip Fulks. We've been fighting the good fight, and we've been doing it without compromise. So it's interesting to see probably a DEA agent slipped this hoodie on him and said, "You're gonna feel the fabric of freedom on American soil." That's my assumption.
Yeah, that's his assumption. That's what he thinks. And because people were like, "Hey, dude, why'd Maduro have your shirt on?" Well, he switched shirts, and it was real cold in coming in to the New York area. And so he ended up with that. So now we've still got technical issues today. And this one's not my fault. I mean, I'm just shocked, frankly, about this. KDJ can't get in. So he's not connected. He will need to connect their mic and cam. I'm so bummed. Here's the thing. 5 years ago, it was January 6th, still is today. It's 5 years later. A time in which the media, running an information op for the intelligence community, which is what they do, went along with the whole charade about how there had been an attempted coup, and which is really interesting in light of what we're learning about the CIA's involvement, which I was going to ask Sam about, but I'll have him back to talk about that in particular. But so they accused Donald Trump of trying to do a coup, and they said that he was doing an insurrection, and the template was cast very early on, the night of January 6, 2021. All of a sudden, the Washington Post, I think it was the Washington Post, pretty sure, that in the evening that, sorry. And so by just within hours, it was labeled an insurrection. And suddenly everyone was using that word for the riot at the Capitol, the incursion, there were all a variety of reasons that they all kinds of words that they were using for it. But what's really interesting is, it wasn't an insurrection because insurrection wasn't even the definition of insurrection. It wasn't any of that. It was an information operation that was seen by previous guests of mine. I've asked Sam Faddis about this, and I've asked other guests of mine, spook people, and one of whom was there and that day, and went down and watched the president's speech and was walking back up from the ellipse and saw people clearly setting something up. In addition, they were setting things up. For example, this was apparently the only riot that Antifa had not attended. Shocking, isn't it? It's just absolutely shocking. It was, in fact, as Amuse writes in a really terrific piece today that he put on his Substack. And by the way, follow Amuse, Alexander Muse. I didn't know he had a first name. Now he's using his full name, Alexander Muse, which he's on X as Amuse. And he writes, January 6, 2021 has been described with unusual certainty. We were told immediately and relentlessly that it was an insurrection. Absolutely. It was an attempted coup and a mortal threat to American democracy. How many times? It was a threat to American democracy. In fact, the Democrats today had a hearing on, which was not an official congressional hearing, but they rented a hotel room kind of a deal, or they got access to a room, and then they had a lot of people come by and say, those Republicans, they're insurrectionists. And if you see B-roll or if you see any information from that, then That's what's happening, right? That's where that was. That was not official congressional testimony. Furthermore, it wasn't even under oath, so they could say anything to doggone well pleased, and you could say anything. That's why they can say anything on the floor of the House and the floor of the Senate, and they don't have to worry about it. But they get out in personal life and they say stuff and they get sued. So anyway, those claims, he writes, were not presented as hypotheses to be tested. This was received wisdom, and it sure was. It was the die was cast. Now, a couple of things that he brings up in his most excellent piece, which I'll tweet out, and you can go follow him, Amuse, on Substack, and you can follow Sam Faddis at And Magazine, as well as additionally Sam Faddis on Substack. And Amuse writes, what occurred that day was a large political protest that devolved into a riot. And KDJ was yet another person I know who was there. And he's finally been freed of any legal chains. He was not in jail or prison, but there was a Damocles sword over his head, over his neck and his fiance's neck for the better part of the last 5 years. And I wanted him to talk about it, but we're just having too many, we're having so many technical issues. So I apologize for that. But what you're seeing is we've seen a lot of misinformation, frankly. The misinformation is this. The misinformation is that five police officers died that day. No, they didn't. There were not. That is an abject, absolute lie. We've seen that over and over and over. They talk about how Brian Sicknick, by the way, the first person to die, died the next day of a stroke. And it could have, a lot of people, they don't know. We don't know. It was natural causes and that sort of thing. It was a terrible thing. He was a Trump supporter and all that jazz. The other 4 cops who were involved committed suicide months later. So this was not a January 6th thing, although I imagine it probably scared the heck out of them. I mean, it would. And it scared the heck out of everybody there. In fact, it scared the heck out of people who did not intend to go inside the Capitol and were invited in by the Capitol Police with the doors, the doors that they held open that are magnetically sealed. Oh, come on in. And there were hundreds of assets there from the feds in that crowd, attempting to cajole people into breaking the law. And indeed, when, the number of people who were there who were bad actors, and I would include the, what's his name, the guy in the red cap who came the first night on January 5th and Ray Epps, tried to get people to come out to the Capitol and go inside, and he himself did not. He's the one who got the first guy to start bringing down the bike barricades that were in front of one part of the Capitol. And what happened was, even before that area was cordoned off, people who were around, not that they knew, that's part of the plan, they were trespassing. Steve Baker, a reporter then, he still is, excuse me, he stood on a park bench so he could get better video because he was there recording it. He was accused of trespassing, federal trespassing. And so, they were just desperately trying to do everything they could to make to get round up as many people as they could and arrest them. No, KDJ, I can't see you, dude.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really sorry. I have no idea what's going on.
I love you though. Why don't you tell? Well, why don't you? We'll use the our mind to attempt to set the picture. Thanks, by the way, for your patience. All this stuff. This thing has just been nothing. This whole live stream has been crazy. It has been crazy. The fact that I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah.
And go for it, dude.
All right. What would you like to know about I still have to say alleged because my fiance and I were never arrested, so we couldn't be pardoned. And the statute of limitations runs out 1 year from today. Although I've been told nothing to worry about. They're not going to come after you. It would be a huge, embarrassing mistake for them to do that. But I still like to stick to the old allegedly thing.
So this guy, who was at the January 6th speech by the president, as well as at the Capitol somewhere around there. What happened? What was that guy up to?
Which guy is that?
That's you. I'm so
No.
remember.
Oh.
Remember
that
we're-
guy.
it's-
Yes, that guy.
that other guy.
I get it now. Derp. So that guy, let's just say he and his fiance hung out for the whole speech and then walked patriotically and peacefully, or peacefully and patriotically, whichever order you prefer, to the Capitol. And I remember standing there going, wow, there's hundreds of thousands of Trumpers here. And I can see seven Capitol cops, and no one's fighting. No one's doing anything.
Yeah.
And some guy walks, I believe we're on the back of the building. And some guy walks up the stairs to talk to a guard. A Trumper walks up, and he comes down. And as the guy's coming down the stairs, he puts his arms in the air in sort of a victory fashion. Then all the cops left. We couldn't see him. And people started going, and we had heard, a woman had told us, a woman with her daughter, the daughter's 14, said, they're letting us in, just we have to promise to be peaceful. I was like, yeah, of course, no problem. And so we allegedly went in there's two doors at the back. One of them had a bunch of riot cops standing there, and the other one had a line going into it. We were like queued up, and the line's moving, fairly quickly, and people going in and out. And we allegedly walked in, and there was a line of cops, so you couldn't really go more than, 15 feet in any direction. And everything was great. Everything was great. We took some insurrection-y selfies, as you do when you're, trying to take over the world. When I try to take over the nation, you got to get some snaps, as they say in England, get a few snaps. And then they pushed us out. And I noticed that one guy was holding a shotgun with a 12-inch barrel, pump action. I thought, I hope there's
what?
nothing but, one of the cops. And I was like, why does a cop have a shotgun? This is the most peaceful thing I've ever seen. Now, outside, I thought I had heard fireworks going off. Turns out later they were canisters. They were like, what do you call it? Eye irritant canisters. Some sort of, it wasn't tear gas you could see.
Right.
Because I sure didn't see any. But then again, we're at the back. And we left. And then we got going to a gig. We get a call from the FBI. So when the FBI, or did you watch Breaking Bad? Did you see Breaking Bad, Victoria?
Oh, I saw a couple episodes. I'm sorry. I'm just
Okay.
the least,
Yeah.
I just can't even do it. I'm gonna have to do Stranger Things. I haven't done that yet, so.
Okay. So
yeah.
there's a scene where they tell the lead guy that he has cancer. And as the doctor's telling him, he sort of fogs out. And so what I heard was, hello, Mr. Downey. This is Special Agent Ring Ding from the FBI. And then it all went foggy. And I don't know really what he said much after that, other than we want to see you right now. And I said, well, we're going to a gig. We're going to a gig. And yeah, I'm watching the video. I see they've got the paintballs. Now look at that person. They're all ready for it.
Yeah, she's an Antifa gal from Portland.
Yeah. She's been ID'd. That's great.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
That's wonderful. So, we just sort of walk up, and we may have walked in, and when we left, and we're like, why, there's a guy with a shotgun. I thought, why would he do that? All right. So you see where they are? That's where we were, but about a quarter of a mile behind them. So we didn't see any of this. I was marveling at how there was nothing going on as far as violence. I said, man, we're a bunch of cool Trumpers. And, and I'm like, I saw the shotgun. I thought, wow, it's really time to go. We come out, and a line of riot cops comes out. And this, I don't know, he probably wasn't any more than 50, 55. He goes up to one of them and goes, you did nothing when Antifa was burning this town, but now you're out for us. And he pushes one of the guy's pad. And a bunch of Trumpers run over and go, no, we don't do that. I saw some idiot walk out with a coat rack, and a woman, probably 65, runs over and goes, we don't steal. We're not BLM. We're not Antifa. Go put it back. And he did. I also saw videos. Yeah, I saw videos of Trumpers arm in arm keeping so-called rioters from the cops who were fighting. None of these things were seen. Now I saw that a couple weeks later. So anyway, the FBI, they're at the door, but they're calling me, and we're not home. Thank God.
This guy. I'm going to point out for just a second. This guy allegedly, this is at Portland outside the ICE facility, and I am told by smart people he was at J6.
Oh,
he's Antifa.
Yeah, funny how none of them got. I'm telling you right now, Antifa was working with the FBI. Yeah. There's no way that they were not. And let me throw this at you too. You know what? If I kind of wish I was like a Somali guy who stole $2 million, because they would have left me alone.
Right.
All I had to do was open Somali daycare, and I'd be rolling in the money right now. I call them salamis. I pretend to forget, but I'll be on there. I'll call these. Look at these salami fraudsters. Anywho, what happens next is about a year later, I get a call from this salad dodging prag from NBC who goes by Ryan J. Riley. Have you seen this fatty acid?
No.
No, Julie Kelly hates him, and he writes this article. It was such he's a horrible comedian, but he's one of the highest profile people. I'm like, dude, I drive a 2005 Saturn. All right. 20, maybe a 2006. I don't want to brag. I don't want to get out of my wheelhouse here. It might've been a 2006, but so we had to get a lawyer now. And I said, they're making me out to be a big fish. He goes, that's what they do. You may think you're a minnow, and I'll be honest, I've never heard of you, but they're going to make you a trout and put you on the wall. Yeah. So, and I'm actually, when he calls me, this Ryan J. Riley, I didn't know he was working on a story. He goes, yeah, we got a story. Do you have? He texted me, and I'm like, I'm not picking up. Called 4 times, I didn't pick up because I didn't know who it was. And he goes, do you have any, anything you want to say? We've got video. And so I didn't respond. But what happened was, so I don't know if they were bots or real, but he goes, oh, look. A domestic terrorist on Twitter is working at whatever the name of the casino was. I was working in Vegas, and he probably hits him 10, 15 times. Why would you hire a domestic terrorist? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, then he says, if anyone wants to go see Kevin Downey Jr. perform and let him know what we think of traitors, my DMs are open. So he's trying to rile up the crowd.
Right.
And now I'm getting Twitter messages. Hey, we're going to rape your fiance when you're in prison getting raped. So, how about that? Won't that be fun? Stuff like that. Real filthy garbage. These are diarrhea people. Every one of them. They're a bunch of diarrhea people. And I was just utterly shocked how I went from, a barely known quirky comedian to a domestic terrorist. And they're planning rape attacks. They're planning rape attacks against my lovely fiance, Jessica. It's actually Jessica, but she's Puerto Rican, and that they would say Jessica.
Oh yeah.
But I'm one of those white men. We're enemies. We're the devil. So I would say Jessica. You would say Jessica, unless you're secretly a Latina. Secretly. But yeah, whenever I run into someone who's Spanish, they'll call us. How is Jessica? Jessica Collazo. I say Jessica's fine. And she got kicked off of Facebook, so she had to come back as Jessica. So it made it even funnier. So, long story short, I check in with the lawyer every now and then. He goes, all right, you're just on a list now. And then he goes, all right, your case has been given to a prosecutor. And he goes, but the good news is I'm hearing that the DOJ and the FBI in New York are sick of chasing down people for trespassing. And he goes, the bad news is we live in a place with a lot of real terrorists. So they're chasing, they're chasing the anti-Semites, and they're chasing the religion of pieces. I call them pieces because they tend to detonate. Yeah, they blow them up. They blow themselves up into bits.
Stop making me laugh. I'm going to cough.
So what happens is Trump wins. And Jessica calls one of our lawyers. We had to have 2, one for her, one for me. So it's only $30,000 each. So who doesn't have that laying around?
Of course. Just write that check, boy.
I had to raid a 401k. But that's, the good thing is when I'm old and retired, I won't eat. And that's fine because I could lose a few pounds. So I won't need that money at all. But I got most of it back, which was very kind of them. Very kind.
Really?
unheard. And I didn't ask him. We didn't ask him for it. Nothing like that. But the day after Trump won, Jessica calls him up and says, hey, can we get like a pardon? He goes, you can't get a pardon because you weren't arrested.
Right.
But he goes, it's over. He goes, I promise you. He goes, and we're going to send you. So I spent 60 grand. I got 53 back because they each had to spend 3,500 to, there's a guy, he's a lawyer in DC. And what he would do is he would go around to the courtrooms and he would see who's been busted, what they've been charged with, and what was the outcome. Because they just wanted to know what we were going into.
Uh-huh.
And they said, that's all we did. We each spent 3,500. And he goes, look, because I've been defending criminals my whole life. You've never been arrested. We had to look at you because you've got nothing. Because you're not a criminal. Just here's your money. Get out. We're happy to send it back. So got a couple of nice checks there, which, by the way, if you need lawyers on Long Island, call me. I've got guys with a refund policy, 2 of them.
That's amazing. I cannot even believe that.
That's
so crazy.
I have a friend who's Jewish. He goes, I told him I got the money back. He goes, you idiot. You didn't get a Jew for a lawyer? I thought I told you get a Jew. I go, how do you know the word Jewish? He goes, because they wouldn't have given the money back. That's from a Jewish guy, friend of mine. So it's not me.
Lovely.
It's not me.
I have a question for you. So what happened though?
So before we got the lawyers, I would watch the news and see, and you know how they were rating people. A bunch of MAGA memas, suddenly they've got M4s and M16s, whatever, in their faces. So I would stay up until 7 a.m. in my clothes for months, just waiting, because I thought, well, they're going to come. I don't want to be naked when they get it. Or maybe I do. But I would just sort of sit here and wait, and then fall asleep at around 7:10 and get up at around, I don't know, maybe 10:30, 11. And I lived like that for months.
Wow.
And then we got the lawyers, and they would call and check once in a while. They were really funny. My lawyer he's got a real thick Italian accent. And when I talk to him, the first minute and a half will be very professional. And then after they go down, Mr. Downey, this Nancy Pelosi, she can suck my whoop, and she's a biatch, effing biatch. And he went into straight into Brooklyn mode. It was great. So much fun. And so, the day after Trump won, he goes, you're free. There's no way they come and get you. There's no way. God bless you. And if you need a lawyer again, let me know. The check will be in the mail this week. So
one of our commenters said, hey, did he say that there was no, J6 wasn't violent and bear spray smells so much like lavender? Who can remember that cute Rob sculpture they wanted to attach Mike Pence to? Oh yeah. So please set the record straight. I said he didn't say that it wasn't violent. He just didn't see any violence.
We saw no violence. None at all.
Yeah.
See
any feds there?
Oh, probably hundreds and didn't know it.
Right. Yeah.
If you were to go to my Twitter right now at KDJ Radio Show, it's almost like an album cover picture they took of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think I'm wearing a black jacket. And I'm holding a white flag that says "Keep on Trumpin'." Allegedly.
Oh, funny.
Allegedly. Yeah. So months after this guy came out with the article, he comes out with this article. He goes, attempted comedian Kevin Downey Jr. after storming the Capitol. We waited in line. Waited in line. And no, we didn't see any violence at all. And that's why when people said, oh my God, it's so violent. I'm like, no, something's weird here. We didn't see that one guy who pushed a riot cop, and then the other Trumpers jumped on him and said, that's it. And Jessica goes, we should leave. We should leave now because his cops are with clubs. And so we're leaving, and we see, I think it's Jacob Langley. Yeah, there I am.
Oh, Jake Lang.
Jake, we see him with the horns and the paint, and I go, my God, I have really got to step up my MAGA game because I didn't look like a witch doctor, and I'm thinking maybe I should have.
Oh, you're talking about the other guy now. I've had him on the show, and I'm forgetting his
Langley.
No, there's Jake Lang, and then there's
oh yes, Chumley.
Chandler. No, I'll think of it. Well, anyway, okay. I'll look it up right now.
But that's the guy. Chansley.
Oh yeah, is it Jacob Chansley?
Yeah, Jessica got it. We saw him.
Thank you, Jessica.
Victoria says thank you. We saw him, and I was like, my God, I really got to invest in some MAGA protest clothes because I'm just a schmuck now. Look at this guy. But then again, he was the first one to go down. He was like the poster boy. He was a poster boy for J6. And you know what? The best part about his whole thing was, and this is just to show you like how nonviolent he was. His big worry was vegan food. And you say what you want about vegans. I've never seen him try to topple a nation per se.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, they can't, generally speaking. No, he was there just, being silly, I think. And,
yeah,
he didn't do anything. I mean, I think he was just the most visible person.
Yes.
And so therefore he was made an example of.
Yep.
And so bless his heart. But,
Yeah,
this is what you have. This was the instantaneous message, the instantaneous message that proclaimed and framed it as an insurrection within hours. Like talk about an information op. I mean, this is time. I mean, I was appalled by the whole thing, frankly. I mean, obviously. And in terms of any violence, because I've never seen Republicans do violence or conservatives do violence, because that's not our thing. And so I was just freaking out. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was there live. And I said, what is happening here? And he goes, oh, this is great. And he didn't see anything either.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of a sudden it's an insurrection. This is a tweet that Hillary Clinton tweeted out today that you obviously was on your timeline. So that's why I saw it. I didn't see this before.
Now keep in mind, this is Operation Mockingbird at its finest.
It really is.
These same papers had nothing to say when the toilet people of Antifa and BLM were burning the nation down. It was all racism. No. This has nothing to do. My favorite quote from the communists is, the issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution.
Right, I was absolutely right. There's only the fight, as Hillary put in her senior thesis or what have you, and when she was in some highfalutin university, because she was doing her special report on a thesis on Saul Alinsky, and admired him greatly. As a matter of fact, there's only the fight. There's never a there. There's never reason. There's never, except that it's always going to be chaos. That's why Kevin and I will often say, when we talk on our separate audiences, he's on the radio in Long Island and does a podcast and does his stand-up comedy. I don't know if you have even, get down and dirty on this issue, but it's just like there is no there. It is a psyop. The whole thing is a psyop. It's only, you must have been laughing your head off when you saw all those Maduro supporters on the streets of Portland and Seattle and everywhere else in the country. Yep. And you're like, oh, okay. So the No Kings people are now all in support of a dictator. I mean, they're all getting paid. That's
hilarious. It's I've got a cousin who's like, what am I, 60? She's probably 63, 64, retired. She has enough money and just hates Trump. And I said, look, if you're going to go to these stupid No Kings, get paid for it. She goes, oh, I'm not doing it for the money. Like, then you're the idiot. You're the useful idiot. How do you look at it? And you know what? Those crusty hippies, remember, I mean, like real hippies from 67, 68. You see them? Oh my God. They're, everything's fine. And then
making me laugh again.
The next thing you know, they're like wiping their bahookies on Teslas and doing it for free. For free. You loved Tesla an hour ago when Elon Musk was saving the planet.
Right.
But just, you know what? I'm trying to figure out how someone was able to take over their brains. I know Yuri Bezmenov said, give them enough bogus information. They won't know what to believe, and they won't believe anything you say. But how did they get them to that point? Are these people stupid? Is my cousin an idiot? Is she weak? I don't know what it is. But she actually drove. She lives in Alaska, and she drove down to California, then drove back up to Alaska and stopped in Canada to say, what's it take to move here? And I said, how has your life changed? I just hate him. I just hate him. I just hate him. And I said, why? In a 45-minute conversation, she couldn't tell me why.
She just doesn't like him, and she's mentally ill as a result of her
Yeah.
Irrational fear of Donald Trump. I mean, there's your answer.
Yeah.
Well, I know people who wanted to leave the country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on.
You know
The
what
only the biggest downside is you'll make more money. I'm not sure actually what the biggest problem is going to be for you. I mean, your life will not change. You will probably get more freedom actually.
Yeah.
So
You know what I really learned throughout this whole thing is that I have completely underestimated evil.
Oh yeah.
Completely. Who says we're going to come and rape your fiance while you're getting raped in prison? Who says that? And I thought, have I been living in a bubble? I don't. Then I thought, wait a minute. I used to be a New York City liberal, and looking back, I was like, now I get it. I see it from the other side. Like I wasn't one of the hateful liberals. Like when someone would say, "Man, these Christians, they can't, I can't stand them because they won't let gay people get married." And I said, "Yeah, what about those Muslims? They're throwing them off roofs." And my friend's like, "Whoa, KDJ, what's with the Islamophobia?" I said, "Well, no. If you hate the Christians over gay marriage, you must really hate when they toss them off of a building, right?" They're like, "Whoa, man, I didn't know you were such a hater." And I was like, "Okay, now." That's when I started to maybe I don't belong with this crowd.
Right. Here's another lie about J6. First of all, it was not an insurrection, and he was there to testify. Here's another one. Kurt Schlichter called it, saying this is a lie. 5 years ago, writes this bot account supposedly for Kamala. These people by the way, the avatar is a picture of Nancy Pelosi, so that should tell you something. 5 years ago, these police officers died because Donald Trump and his treasonous thugs. Republicans may pretend they didn't exist, but we will always remember. Do you realize that this obvious lie that has been dispelled so many times is still going? 5 years later, these people do not learn.
They don't learn. And you know what really steams my clams? About a month after J6, some guy, who's the big black militant guy who wears the bow ties? Farrakhan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where is Minister Farrakhan these days anyway?
I don't know.
He's going totally low pro. What's going on with him?
About a month or maybe 5 weeks after J6, one of his followers kills a Capitol cop. And Joe Biden had the audacity to say, the MAGA killed these cops. He names them all.
Yeah.
And I was like, my God, how do people believe? Well, it's just
the president of the United States is saying it. That's why.
Yep, exactly.
They don't believe anything Trump says. Everything's a lie. But boy, Joe Biden, who's so brain addled, he can't conduct his own personal affairs, is now the president. And President Autopen's going on. And they'll believe anything he says.
Biden
Can you believe what a psyop that was?
Huge.
I mean, my gosh.
Wow. Biden can't walk through the Rose Garden without dropping a couple of crab cakes into his adult diaper. But that's the guy we should all believe. Right there. That's the man. You got to believe that clown. Yeah, it's just sick. It's just absolutely sick. And now, like you said, the No Kings people are like, leave that dictator alone, Trump.
Yeah, you meanie. You're so mean, Donald Trump.
Oh, my God.
You're such a bad guy. I mean, I'm just totally off the rails right now. Did you see that CIA story? I mean, you and I are sort of in sync about some of this stuff about this CIA memo story, the most damning email that confirms the CIA. I mean, I'll use this tab and I will put this on the screen because this is a KDH kind of, or KDG. I'm so sorry, dude. Keep doing that. I'm not even drinking or anything.
Well, that's the problem.
Apparently. Let's find out. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, sure, Victoria. Okay, hold on. I'm going to be able to manipulate this. Here's the damning email that confirms the CIA overthrew the U.S. government in 2020.
Ooh, is that new? I didn't see that.
It broke yesterday. And the president has been talking about the coup, as these guys put it, that the CIA was involved in because Gina Haspel, who was at the time appointed by Trump to lead the CIA, and she was no friend to him. She did not like him, thought he was crazy because everybody said he was. So he must be. And obviously all the smart set said he was. So there are, this is just, here it is, the damning email obtained by King Solomon, whoever that is, through the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. And by the way, Trump amplified this King Solomon deal. I mean, and so the bottom line is this. This was Gina Haspel giving her permission for the active CIA people to further the Hunter Biden laptop lie that it was a Russian op, and that at least one person who had been involved had been in this 51 Spies Who Lied. They the bottom line was they were done. They were encouraged to do it by Gina Haspel, who was a working CIA officer. Do you know who didn't sign this letter? Who? And they kept saying, oh, he's going to sign it in all of the different emails and stuff like that. Oh, he's going to sign it. Mike Rogers, the NSA head, and he did not sign it. In fact, he got the hell out of there. So he got out, and he got out with his integrity. He actually had a meeting with Trump. He's the guy who dropped dime on this whole info op that they were doing on him, the Russiagate situation. And then he went into obscurity. I'm sure he's working for some company, maybe making bank, but whatever. But he never signed. But here's the reason I wanted to show this to you. Oh, let me see. I should. This is a quote attributed to Mike Morell, who is the person who started the 51 Spies Who Lied. Hunter Biden laptop is a Russian op lie. And it is attributed to him, and yet I don't see it, this particular terrible thing, excuse me, in any of the emails that were put into the public sphere yesterday. But it says, hey, CIA Mike Morell, can I add your name to the list? We'll be adding Leon Panetta, Sue Gordon, Jay Johnson, former DHS guy, George, whoever that is. George Tenet, maybe. Lisa Monaco and Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers never signed it. And I don't even know that Lisa Monaco signed it. And working, by the way, Lisa Monaco was working at the DOJ. Anyway, she's the hatchet woman for those people. Anyway, so and working on adding Dan Coates, Mike Rogers, and Tom Bossert. Lots of other IC career folks trying to give the incapacitated vegetable, particularly during the debate on Thursday, a talking point to push back on Trump on this issue.
Wow.
Yeah. That allegedly is in one of these missives between all these guys when they're talking about cooing Trump. Because that's, Mark Levin always says this was a soft coup. This was a coup in 2020.
100%.
And so Trump's been on his Truth Social account. Go through that. It is one video after another of people who have finally been listened to about, hey, where'd the votes go in Maricopa County? Hey, where'd the votes go in Nevada? That was a real eye opener. I mean, I knew there was skullduggery in Nevada, but pretty dang bad. I'm sorry. I'm just totally commandeering this interview with you. So
no,
continue.
not at all. I hope someday, and I think by the time Trump is done, we'll know the real score of both elections, because I think they cheated in 2024 too, but it was just harder because you couldn't say to someone, hey, here's $100. Go drop 50 of these ballots in that box and 40 in that one. And we're going to need 80 over in that one across town. But don't you love how they found everyone on J6 except for the pipe bomber. They didn't find any of the
Then he turns out to be a black person who's not a fan of Donald Trump. Like, okay, sure. There's another one of your lies. They didn't want to find him. They found him and they go, oh, this guy's not from Central Casting. We can't have him because he looks like he might be a Biden supporter. Oh, no.
Yep. And you know what? They knew who he was. Yes. They lied. They said that, we couldn't check his phone. The data was corrupt. Now, here's the question, though.
Yes.
Do you think that the woman, I think it was the Blaze said, it's this woman, we can tell by her walk. Do you think that kid's a patsy?
I don't know. I've heard that. I have no basis on which to do that.
I've read he has the mental acuity of a 15-year-old, and he beat the FBI for 5 years.
Well, wait a minute now. I don't think so because I don't know. I don't think so. I have
do.
video here. Let me. Oh yeah. Let me show you something because I am going to show you. Did you ever see the video of the pipe bomber? Who? Let's see. J6 pipe bomber. Just to do this. J6. I'm going to get my video here. Let's see. Yeah, here he is. Benjamin Crump. Our viewers and folks saw this a couple weeks back on the Adult in the Room podcast. Here is the J6 pipe bomber suspect, and of all people, Benjamin Crump. They're going after a local prosecutor who is giving them a hard time because of their bail bond company, and they've got people who own bail bond companies there, and they're complaining. And Crump's there. He's just Crump because he's there because he's making bank from these people who are paying him to be there. But he's not planning to do any legal work. Watch this.
Mr. Hambrick, and the final person you will hear from before we engage in your questions would be Mr. Brian Cole, the president of Free at Last Bail Bond Company. Mr. Cole.
Yeah. I've done business all over the United States. I'm in 20 states, and I've never met the opposition that I've met with Zimmerman coming after our company the way he has. He's defamed me. He's called my insurance company. He's went above and beyond, going to other jurisdictions, defaming me and Mr. Holmes. I've never seen this before, and we hope that the Department of Justice can come in and do a brief investigation, because what we see and what we've seen is a lot of questionable acts that Mr. Zimmerman has demonstrated towards minority-owned companies. So please, I just hope they would come in and investigate and look at his actions on what he's done towards minority-owned companies.
And so that's the J6 pipe bomber suspect. He doesn't sound like a 50-year-old dummy.
No, no, he does. So, wow. So they're lying about everything.
I mean, I got nothing, man. all I know is that I saw his name cross-referenced with Benjamin Crump, and I go, holy moly, I got to watch this video. This is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I do love how he dropped the race card as soon as he had to.
Oh, yeah. Because that was the whole pretext upon which they were bringing the complaint. Even though there were, if you see the whole thing, there's a couple of white guys there, and they're standing in the back, and they also own bail bonds company. I think it's possibly two companies. And then they bring up, of course, you've got Benjamin Crump there. You got to play the race card because that's the point of his, being there. And so here he is. That's the J6 pipe bomber suspect. And
yeah, he doesn't seem like a troubled.
No.
What they say? He has the mind of a 15-year-old. No way. They're lying.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Victoria. They said, "Oh, it's a black guy. We can't have that."
We can't have that. And then you cross-reference and you go, oh, heck, here he is with Benjamin Crump. Oh, no, we're really screwed.
Yeah.
We're screwed. Yeah. Can't have that.
No, of course not.
Honestly. Well, anyway, we should probably wrap. I appreciate it. This has been one of my more fun live streams because, Kevin, it's just been a car crash of technical failure.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's not you. Oh no, gosh, we were like 25 minutes late because I was like, what, how come? I mean, I didn't even notice that it was, anyway, long story.
Let me just say, when it comes to technology, I'm not joking. I listen to records on a 1958 hi-fi.
I love it.
And that's all. So when people are like, hey, could you, with the computer, no, no, I don't know what you mean. And, I even looked for the StreamYard app and I didn't even find that.
Oh, that's weird too.
Unless it's only on Apple.
No, it's on both Google Play and Apple Store. So
they put something up called Bigo, B-I-G-O, but I was like, that's not even bingo. I'm not downloading
they're missing a doggone letter there. I mean, what's going on with that? Oh, wow.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on, man.
KDJ, thank you so much. I enjoyed your cruiser column today, and I enjoy everything you write for PJ Media. Tell people where they can find you.
Oh, sure. Thank you. You can listen to my radio show around the world, folks. It's Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to LI, that stands for Long Island, linewsradio.com. If you're on your phone, tilt it to the left, and you'll see a button that says Listen Now. And you can hit that, and I'll be there.
Your show is wonderful. It is just so high energy.
Thank you. You got to come back.
I will. I'd love to. Yeah, absolutely. Invite me.
You got it.
All right. Okay.
Right. Let's shoot for next week if you're open.
Sure. Absolutely. Kevin Downey Jr., thank you so much. Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with that.
Thank you, Victoria Taft.
Oh, so wait, we got Benjamin Crump back again. That's totally not what I wanted. I was supposed to try to remove you so I could get a smooth out and be all cool and stuff. And what happened? Benjamin Crump came back.
That guy is one of those deep-rooted pimples on the bahookie of society, you know?
I mean, I can remember years ago, I did not know who he was. And Michelle Malkin was talking about him in 2013. And, does anybody remember Michelle Malkin? I do. I enjoyed her greatly. And she's retired. She's doing only a few things. And, but she talked about Ben Crump all the time. And of course he was there. Let me just go through the wall of shame. He was there, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown. He was there for George Floyd. These are all people who didn't have to die if they just hadn't done anything illegal. They would have been alive today.
Yep.
So anyway.
Have you seen The Fall of Minneapolis?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
and it's fantastic. She's great.
That's my new favorite. I think I watched that more than Inglourious Bastards, just to make sure I haven't forgotten anything.
When we were in France, when I was in France, excuse me, when we went to going to Normandy to Omaha Beach.
Oh my God!
I saw.
Envious.
I know. I be envious because I was just pinching myself the whole time. By the way, getting to Normandy was the hardest thing, just because we'd been canceled and this and that and everything. So anyway, my husband's just huge World War II buff, and so anyway, so we are taking this little tour, whatever, sprinter van, and we're on this back road in whatever area that is. It's rural. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. And we stayed at the Winston Churchill Hotel.
Oh my God.
And it was just, I hope you get there. You have to get there. Anyway, I see this beautiful mansion. It doesn't look super ostentatious. It's sort of a crumbling mansion. And I go, oh my gosh, that looks like the house that was in Inglourious Bastards. And I think I looked it up and I thought it was. Wow. They definitely used it for B-roll for sure, or some setting or something.
Right.
It was just unbelievable, and I thought, this is so great. I just enjoyed that so much, and I got my my rocks, my sand, and my shells.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations, cool. Molotov. Can I say that? Well, it's Long Island. I can say it here, and I might not get set on fire.
Sorry. Katie J, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I got to go.
Can't wait till next week.
Okay, me too. I'm going to lose my voice. That's awesome. He's a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Have faith not in our works, but his holy work on the cross. That's probably the usual comment. Thank you for highlighting that, Alex. That's pretty cool. I agree. Totally agree. So there you go. Yeah. Well, I hope you had a blessed Christmas, everybody, and a blessed Epiphany, which is what today is actually. And, that's, let me just, a little factoid here. That's when the wise men, all of whom were North Africans and were black, by the way, I think all of them were black, and they found Jesus, but they found Jesus, as I understand it, 2.5 years later. And so there you go. There you go. So today's the day of Epiphany. And it was the Epiphany that we have to find the Christ child, and they followed, the stars and all that jazz. So, for reals, yo. It's been great spending this time with you. It's an extensive live stream. And the reason is because it was starting so late and it was so full of mechanical, technical data errors that I just went, I don't even care anymore. With Kevin, I can just roll. And I know he'll pick it up. And he did, and we did, and we had a great time. Appreciate everything you guys have done for me and the Adult in the Room podcast. Please hit the notifications button on whatever format platform you are, probably, YouTube. Please do that. It's Victoria Taft 982. We're going to switch that so people know that, hey, the Adult in the Room podcast is here. Most people find it, but sometimes they don't. So you got to give a little grace there. And yeah, I'm freezing cold here, man. It's where I am is cold today. Kevin's cold today. Oh, anyway. Okay, we're going to be back on Thursday. And Thursday, I'm going to have an interview, I hope, with Jonathan Cho, because, and I have another Portland update, which should be interesting because Jonathan Cho is a citizen journalist. He's an investigative reporter. And in the state of Washington, I just did a story the other day. In the state of Washington, because I keep track of the West Coast, West Coast, I do stories about California, Oregon, and Washington, as well as others. But I try to concentrate on those areas because it's I've lived in every single one of these places. So anyway, in Washington, the Democrats there are trying to make it impossible for reporters to report on the Somali daycare and adult care facilities and double check if they are stealing money or not. And so I'm going to talk to Jonathan about that. I'm going to probably pre-record something tomorrow, and then we'll play it for you on Thursday, on the Thursday stream. 1 to 2 Pacific, 4 to 5 Eastern. And thank you. I appreciate you being here today, and have a wonderful day. See you on Thursday.